St Patrick's Athletic host Bohemians at Richmond Park in the pick of the bunch tonight after both sides signed off for the summer break a fortnight ago with very contrasting results. It's been a wild couple of weeks for Stephen Kenny since taking reins of the Saints last month. Now, Kenny has made no secret of the fact that he feels there's a lot of work to do with his new side to get them back up the table. Goalkeeper Joseph Anang returned to the club this week on a permanent deal, while Kieran Freeman went the other way after his contract was terminated by mutual consent. The FAI Cup holders entered the summer break off the back of a huge 2-1 victory over champions Shamrock Rovers, courtesy of a 95th minute winner from Brandon Kavanagh. And the last fortnight will have given Kenny an opportunity to work with his players on the training ground for an extended period, something that ex-Ireland boss really hasn't had much of a chance to do since taking the hot seat. Also during the break, St Pat's learned their opponents in Conference League qualifying. As cup winners, they'll enter at the second round where they'll meet Liechtenstein's FC Vaduz. But back home, a good run of results from here on in is vital to ensure they qualify for Europe next season. St Pat's sit 6th in the table and 4 points off 4th, but will be well aware the likes of Galway, Waterford and Sligo and other teams near them have a couple of games in hand on the Saints. Bows are currently 8th, 3 points off St Pat's, but have 4 games in hand on Kenny's men. The next month or two will determine if Anil Reynolds' side will be looking up the table and targeting a return to Europe, or whether they'll find themselves getting dragged into a battle with Dundalk beneath them. Before the break, there was some unhappiness from sections of the Bow support about Reynolds being away with the Ireland under-21s in Croatia in the lead up to their big home clash against Derry City. And those groans around Dalymount grew louder when Danny Mullen hit a 94th minute winner for the visitors 2 weeks ago. Bows are on a run of 1 win in 8 coming into this Dublin derby. Bows edged this one 1-0 when the sides met in February, before last month, in Kenny's third game in charge, Danny Grant's last-minute equaliser denied the Saints a big win at Dalymount. There have been some coming and goings in Phibsborough too lately. Ex-Ireland under-21 international Ross Tierney will hope to hit the ground running as he returned to the club last week after 2.5 years in the UK, a signing Reynolds labelled a coup for the club. On the other hand, Estonian internationals Michael Lillander and Sten Reincourt both had their contracts terminated by mutual consent last week, after just 5 months after the pair arrived at Dalymount on multi-year deals. With the business end of the season fast approaching, a win for either side here would be the perfect way to return to action. A first European appearance in 18 years and a new FAI Cup campaign will quickly come into view for Shelbourne, but with just 14 league games remaining, a first league title since 2006 is the goal for Damien Duff's side. The Reds currently sit top of the table, 2 points above second place Derry with a game in hand, and 12 points ahead of champions Shamrock Rovers. Next up tonight is a clash against John Caulfield's Galway, who have the best defensive record in the league. Duff's men have enjoyed the second best defensive record so far, however, and Shells are in fine form going into this Tulka Park clash with 5 wins in their last 6. The Drumcondra club have also had a busy break. News of Duff penning a new 2.5-year deal last week, as well as his backroom staff, was huge news for the Reds. Gavin Malloy has departed the club, but they soon brought in midfielder Ali Coote, a player Duff feels has that X factor, while defender Cameron Ledwidge also committed his long-term future to Shells last week. As the title running approaches, Shells will be well aware of the threats the tribesmen pose, having suffered a 1-0 defeat out west when the sides last met 2 months ago. Caulfield's side have made an impressive return to the top flight this term themselves, sitting in 5th and just 1 point off 3rd. Each of the last 2 clashes between these sides have been settled by single goal, and another intriguing encounter awaits in Drumcondra here. Stephen Bradley's champions need a big run of results in the weeks ahead if they are to close the 12-point gap on leader Shells and secure a 5th successive league crown, while their huge Champions League first round qualifier against Iceland's Vikingur Reykjavik is on the horizon too. The Hoops have already suffered 6 defeats in 21 league games so far this season, 2 more than they lost in the whole of last season. They've been hit hard with injuries over the course of 2024 so far too. While they have recorded big back-to-back wins over fellow title challengers Derry City, they've just been dropping too many points elsewhere and come into tonight's game with 4 defeats in their last 7 games. After a dramatic late defeat to St Pat's this month, The Hoops boss admitted he wasn't sure if that 12-point gap is now too big for his side to haul back, with their 5-in-a-row hopes now under threat. Bradley's men are in the showgrounds tonight to face Sligo Rovers. The champions eased to a 3-0 win when the sides met in Tala last April, but they were held to a scoreless draw on the Bitter Reds home patch a month before that. 7th place Sligo will be looking to bounce back after consecutive defeats to Waterford and Dundalk before the break, and having recently defeated Shells at home, the champions must be on their game here if they're to take 3 points back to Dublin. Elsewhere, Rory Higgins' Derry City will be looking to keep the pace on the leaders when they host rock bottom Drogheda at the Brandywell. He'll be without the services of Cameron McJanet, who left for League 2 Grimsby Town over the break. Drogheda are 3 points off 9th, but will take confidence from holding the Candy Stripes to a 2-2 draw in April. John Daly's Dundalk also welcome Waterford to Oriel Park and are targeting a first win over the Blues in 4 meetings. A good run of 6 wins in 9 have put Keith Long's men in the conversation for Europe as they sit in 4th. For the Lily Whites, it's all about safety this season. We'll have our usual post-match review after Friday night's games, and you can find that and much more reaction across the weekend on the Irish Independent's website.